must flow. Ice must flow.
adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, hand in hand, we find the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode. On the Globus Show, on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. On the Globus Show, on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. On the Globus Show, on the Globus Show, on the Globus Show, on the Globus Show, on the Globus
Good morning, Twitch. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay notified. Good morning, Holiday. Good morning, PETA. Good morning, bots. Good morning, lurkers. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Relatively light news day today. If you weren't watching the Starliner, the SpaceX huge rocket, both the booster and the rocket itself were able to return to Earth. Both performed soft splashdown maneuvers, and everything that they could have wanted to happen did occur, so that should be that should be a positive step forward for reusable large rockets. We shall see how that continues to develop. The homie Astro Canuck indicated that they thought about another 8 to 10 launches from Starliner before it's at the same level as the Falcon reusable rocket. So it still will take some time, but it's good news all the way around. So, without further ado, let's get to the news. If you use DuckDuckGo, you now have access. Now, I haven't tried this yet. I just became aware of it last night. But DuckDuckGo offers anonymous access to AI chatbots through a new service. DDG offers LLMs from OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, Mistral for factually iffy conversations. Anywho, on Thursday, DuckDuckGo unveiled a new AI chat service that allows users to converse with 4 mid-range large language models from OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, and Mistral in an interface similar to ChatGPT while attempting to preserve privacy and anonymity. While the AI models involved can output inaccurate information readily, the site allows users to test different mid-range LLMs without having to install anything or sign up for an account. Now, we've already gone headline and teaser and first paragraph, and obviously this person has views about AI chatbots. DuckDuckGo's AI chat currently features access to OpenAI's GPT 3.5 Turbo, Anthropic's Claude 3 Haiku, and two open source models, Llama 3 and Mistral 8x7b. The service is currently free to use with daily limits. Users can access AI chat through the DuckDuckGo search engine, direct links to the site, or by using exclamation point AI or exclamation point chat shortcuts in the search field. AI chat can also be disabled in the site setting for users with accounts. So we go here and we hit exclamation point AI and hit return. It does not do that. It brings me to. Good morning, Cosmic. Could be a rollout and it might not be available to me. Yeah, it's not bringing up that for me yet. According to DuckDuckGo, chats on the service are anonymized with metadata and IP addresses removed to prevent tracing back to individuals. The company states the chats are not used for AI model training, citing its privacy policy in terms of use. We have agreements in place with all model providers to ensure that any saved data or saved chats are completely deleted by the providers within 30 days, and that none of the chats made on our platform can be used to train or improve models. However, the privacy experience is not bulletproof because, in the case of GPT 3.5 and Claude Haiku, DuckDuckGo is required to send a user's inputs to remote servers for processing over the internet. Given certain inputs, i.e., hey GPT, my name is Bob and I live on Main Street and I just murdered Bill, a user could still potentially be identified if such an extreme need arose. While the service appears to work well for us, there's a question about its utility. For example, while GPT 3.5 initially wowed people when it launched with ChatGPT in 2022, it also confabulated a lot, and it still does. GPT 4 was the first major LLM to get confabulations under control to a point where the bot became more reasonably useful for some tasks, though this itself is a controversial point, and that more capable model isn't present in DuckDuckGo's AI chat. Also missing are similar GPT 4 level models like Claude Opus or Google's Gemini Ultra, likely because they are far more expensive to run. DuckDuckGo says it may roll out paid plans in the future, and those may include higher daily usage limits or access to more advanced models. It's true that the other three models generally and subjectively pass 3.5 in capability for coding with lower hallucinations, but they can still make things up too. With DuckDuckGo AI Chat as it stands, the company is left with a chatbot novelty with a decent interface and the promise that your conversations with it will remain private. But what use are fully private AI conversations if they're full of errors? um, Mistral 8x7b on DuckDuckGo AI chat when asked about the author of this article. Everything in red boxes is sadly incorrect, but it provides an interesting fantasy scenario. Good example of an LLM plausibility or plausibly filling gaps between concepts that are underrepresented in its training data called confabulation. For the record, Llama 3 gives a more accurate answer. Now, he's using the term confabulation, which most people like we've heard of as hallucinations. So, um, I think confabulation is the better term. Yes. Good morning, Drama Llama. Yeah, I'm in agreement. And that I'm going with that. That's a very intentional choice on their part. So I will, respect for that. Confabulation. So yeah. So again, it's not working for me at the moment. And we'll try it again. Exclamation point AI brings me back to here, which is where um, it's just adding DuckDuckGo. So it could be a staged rollout. Not everyone has it, or some other something. We'll keep an eye on that. Um, I'm not sure that I would actually like go out of my way to use it that way either. The I'm liking the GPT memory feature, and I like perplexities. I was using both Chat GPT here and Perplexity in relation to Crusader Kings 3 to provide me like a nice, easy to read process. Um, so, real quick, in Crusader Kings 3, you got your feudal government, which, people are familiar with lords and whatnot. But then there's also tribal government, um, which tends to apply to peoples who are outside, like, um, the core, right? Like England, France, Germany area. One of the things that you run into is that when your character die in Crusader Kings 3, you play a character, but the character exists within a house, right? So like my current run, the house is Globus. So when my first character died, it went on to their heir, so on and so forth. Um, if you're not careful with a tribal government, you can end up breaking up your empire, right? And overcoming those challenges was what I asked for ChatGPT to help me with. And then I also did the same with Perplexity, which has the added advantage of all its sources right there when it pops off. Um, and so far things are going well. Um, so yeah. What up, Zero? You let me know if you figure it out. Okay. In the ongoing drama I'm sorry. Before I do that, let me do this. Radio signal from space repeats every hour, defying explanation. The universe is awash with strange radio signals, but astronomers have now detected a really bizarre one that repeats every hour, cycling through three different states. While they have some idea about its origin, it can't be explained by our current understanding of physics. The signal first appeared in data gathered by the ASCAP radio telescope in Australia, which watches a big swath of sky at once for transient pulses. Officially designated ASCAP J1935 plus 2148, the signal seems to repeat every 53.8 minutes. Whatever it is, the signal cycles through three different states. Sometimes it shoots out bright flashes that last between 10 and 50 seconds and have a linear polarization, meaning the radio waves all point in the same direction. Excuse me. Other times, its pulses are much weaker with a circular polarization lasting just 370 milliseconds. And sometimes the object misses its cue and stays silent. What is intriguing is how this object displays three distinct emission states, each with properties entirely dissimilar from the others. The Meerkat radio telescope in South Africa played a crucial role in distinguishing between these states. If the signals didn't arise from the same point in the sky, we would not have believed it to be the same object producing these different signals. So, what could be behind such a weird radio signal? Let's get it out of the way up front. It's not aliens. Probably. It was an AI designed for tabletop DMs. It was meant to help with campaign creation and whatnot. I mean, there are people who are currently using like ChatGPT and others for exactly that. So it might have even not been an AI in and of itself, but it could have been a wrapper for an existing AI, like a wrapper for like a Chat GPT or something. Um, the most likely explanation, according to scientists who discovered it, is that it's coming from a neutron star or a white dwarf. But it's not a neat solution since the signal's weird properties don't fit with our understanding of the physics of those two kinds of objects. Neutron stars and white dwarfs are fairly similar, but with some key differences. Good morning, Reed. They're both born from the deaths of bigger stars, with the original mass dictating whether you end up with a neutron star or a white dwarf. Um, Whether the signal is from an unusual neutron star, an elusive white dwarf pulsar, or something else entirely can only be answered with more observations. It would be interesting, right? That is why I brought, you know, so far every one of these types of things. There was a one earlier this year, like a month ago, where it could have been aliens, Dyson spheres, that kind of thing, but it's most likely not that. It's most likely like, um, you know, the accretion disk getting in the way of signals at a certain point in time, and that's what's causing it to look like a Dyson sphere. Um, but it's always fun to imagine, right? We found aliens. Um, all right, now we're going to get into the ongoing drama that is the Humane AI pin. How to build a DOA product. Humane AI pin founders banned internal criticism. I mean, I don't. You're going to have to come with a lot of evidence, Cosmic, in order for me to get to believe that it's aliens, but the universe, even the galaxy, is a very large place, and the idea that it's completely empty, um, except for us, is a special kind of hubris. It's just where do we fit in with the timeline of development of another intelligent species within, a reasonable space that we can see. Are we early, as some theories indicate, and that's why we haven't seen a whole lot of aliens? Are there great filters? We don't know. And we won't know until we start meeting people. Questioning the design and dev progress was apparently against company policy. See, I would have got fired, right? The Humane AI pin is launched, crashed, and burned, with founders already looking to sell the company just 1 month after launch. New York Times has an article detailing exactly how the company got to the point of launching a dead on arrival product and provided a few updates on the sales of the product and the company. Yeah, I mean, we would be hugely far away. One of two things is true. We are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Yeah. Humane, if you haven't heard, is a company founded by two former Apple employees, Imran Chowdhury and Bethany Bongiorno, in 2018. Company raised 230 million from some big name investors like OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, and before launch was valued at 1 billion. The product, the AI pin, is sort of trying to be a Star Trek communicator. You magnetically clip it to your shirt and can tap it for voice commands. It has no apps. The founders bragged about this feature, and is mostly just a voice assistant box with a touch panel, battery, camera, and speaker microphone. There's no traditional screen, but a laser pointer can shoot a smartwatch like UI onto your hand that you control with gestures. The going rate for one of these things is $700 plus a $24 a month subscription, a hard sell in the face of the $400 Apple Watch. It also doesn't really work and was universally panned in reviews with conclusions. All right, so we all know that. Thanks to the Times reporting, we've got some hard sales numbers. How bad does it have to be for founders to want to exit the company? Now, I think this is wrong framing because this is one of the current modern strategies is that you are not building a company to stay with for the rest of your life. You're building a company to be sold, right? Like there are companies that exist that support Amazon, right? Like they sell and supply to Amazon, and what they're looking to do is build up to the point where they're doing $1 billion in revenue or what have you, and at that point Amazon, seeking to prevent uh, competitors from arising, will come in and offer to buy them out, and then Amazon gets another, um, a subsidiary that's ready to go at its level, and the people who originated the company get $1 billion. So the fact that the founders are trying to exit the company doesn't mean anything to me, right? Because that's the way that the modern system can work for some people. um Anywho, the report says as of early April, Humane has received around 10,000 orders for the AI pin, a small fraction of the 100,000 that it had hoped to sell this year. Two people familiar with its sales said 10,000 at $700 each. If all those orders were filled, and that's around $7 million in revenue, plus whatever the subscription retention is. And that subscription retention is not like it's not a good number. Um, it's hard to imagine the company making much more after the devastating reviews, press of a potential sale, and fire risks, because we found out, yesterday that the charging case, not the charger, but the like AirPods style charging case. One incident of it catching fire happened, and there were are concerns and so on and so forth. Yeah, the pin absolutely has to be internet connected. Despite the negative reception, Humane still wants to cling to the pre launch valuation. The report says about a week after the reviews came out, Humane started talking to Hewlett Packard, the company, or the computer and printer company, about selling itself for more than $1 billion. Other potential buyers have emerged, though talks have been casual and no formal sales process has begun. Asking for $1 billion after just $7 million in sales is ambitious, and you've got to wonder what casual comments they got about that price. I guess it's good to start your negotiations high. HP has previously been suckered into buying dying tech companies like Palm, which definitely did not work out, so who knows? Well, the first part there is that's what I believe that it does. Zero is that there is a cellular chip, because you get it at T-Mobile, and it connects to their cellular network. The second part, linking it to a cellular device, is something that they were intentionally trying to avoid, and I think it's what ultimately killed them. This device, and my position on this is this device, if it was acting as a peripheral, like a different kind of watch, then it might have had legs, right? It connects to your cell phone. Your cell phone does the heavy lifting, and the device is just another access point with another camera and the ability to communicate with it, that kind of thing. So like if it was a peripheral, I think it would have done better. um they were trying to make it an anti cell phone, and I think that's where they screwed up, because we're not there yet in the ability to do it. But if you just go on YouTube and look for AI pin reviews, people will explain it very well. I especially Marquez, he does a great job. So if it's internet connected, they can tell where you are and eavesdrop on you. I mean, in the same way that your cell phone can, theoretically. Um, this light here is supposed to light up to tell you when it's active. So it's not something like your Alexa that listens, for the sound of its own name or anything else like that. You have to touch it allegedly to make it work. And just want proper augmented reality glasses. That's the tech I've been waiting on. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. As a suite, right? Some augmented reality glasses, this AI pin device, and a traditional, especially one of the newer AI empowered smartphones. I think the three of those things together as peripherals, two peripherals and a device, that had legs, right? Like that could have been something. Um, but that's not what happened here. So yeah. Um, had another article about the AI, or the pin Hewlett Packard thing, but it appears to be the same information. Yeah, 10,000 instead of 100,000. Um, you don't know everything before you launch. Well, you know a lot more if you don't tell your employees they can't give you criticism. right? Just saying. OpenAI offers a peek inside the guts of ChatGPT. Who wants to see ChatGPT's guts? Anybody? Anybody? ChatGPT developer OpenAI approach to building artificial intelligence came under fire this week from former employees who accused the company of taking unnecessary risks with technology that could become harmful. Today, OpenAI released a new research paper apparently aimed at showing it is serious about tackling AI risk by making its models more explainable. In the paper, researchers from the company lay out a way to peer inside the AI models that powers ChatGPT. They devised a way to identify how it stores certain concepts, including those that might perhaps cause an AI system to misbehave. Although the research makes OpenAI's work on keeping AI in check more visible, it also highlights recent turmoil at the company. New research was performed by the recently disbanded Super Alignment team at OpenAI that was dedicated to studying the long-term risks posed by the technology. The former group's co-leads, Ilya Sutskever and Jan Laika, both of whom have left the OpenAI. Who's the boomer in this conversation? Are named as co-authors. Sutskever, co-founder of the company and former chief scientist, was among the board members who voted to fire Sam Altman last November. ChatGPT is powered by a family of Unlike with most human creations, we don't really understand the inner workings of neural networks. The researchers behind the work write in an accompanying blog post. Some prominent AI researchers believe that the most powerful AI models, including ChatGPT, could perhaps be used to design chemical or biological weapons and coordinate cyber attacks. They could also be used to eliminate your job and create a mass crisis of unemployed people. I think that's a more pressing problem, but let's talk about the chemical and biological weapons that you would allegedly be able to attain the materials for and construct in your garage without also killing yourself. A longer term concern. Good morning, Red Hobbit. Happy Friday. Longer term concern is that AI models may choose to hide information or act in harmful ways to achieve their goals. OpenAI's new paper outlines a technique that lessens the mystery a little by identifying patterns that represent specific concepts inside a machine learning system with help from an additional machine learning model. The key innovation is refining the network used to peer inside the system of interest by identifying concepts to make it more efficient. OpenAI proved out the approach by identifying patterns that represent concepts inside GPT 4, one of its largest AI models. The company released code related to the interpretability work in a visualization tool that can be used to see how words in different sentences activate concepts, including profanity and erotic content, in GPT 4 and another model. So Anthropic recently did something that sounds very similar to this. Come on. Um, and that's like, I'm wondering how similar it is. Yeah, okay, right here. Just keep reading the article. Anthropic, an OpenAI competitor backed by Amazon and Google, published similar work on AI interpretability last month to demonstrate how it could be used to tune the behavior of AI systems. The company's researchers created a chatbot obsessed with San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. and simply asking an LLM to explain its reasoning can sometimes yield insight. What I think is weird about us not having augmented reality glasses already is I distinctly remember multiple toys in the early 90s that put changing images on clear lenses, functionally making AR toys. I mean, we do have AR glasses already. You've got Meta's Ray Bans to an extent. You've got um, Apple's Vision Pro. Um, so we're just in the early days of having them, you know, be what people want them to be. Bao says the Open AI team's key innovation is showing a more efficient way to configure a small neural network that can be used to understand the components of a larger one. But he also notes that the technique needs to be refined to make it more reliable. There's still a lot of work ahead in using these methods to create fully understandable explanations. So, yeah, what do we got next? All right. So, we're going to do this one. Good morning, Pharaoh. Um, oh, yeah. Um, the problem with the Apple one, there could be a design issue where there's a crack. Cosmic, we don't put links in chat unless we're doing like tangent time. If there's stuff that you want to share, there's a whole section in the Discord called article suggestions, and you put your article suggestions in there. Okay. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm mentioning it again today. What up, Larry? Been seeing a lot of this AI's peak narrative going around. I've been seeing AI his peak narrative going around for like the past year. You know what I mean? I envision. Stop biting my knuckles, sir. I envision a set of glasses where I need directions to a place, and they place the directions by an overlay on the lens. Right now, the only one that could give you something like that would be the Vision Pro, right? It is the most healthily developed. It's also very expensive. Um, $3,500 for the glasses, and now you're knocking stuff over. Just a dinosaur, just an absolute moose up in this piece. If that link is expired, Cosmic, I'll give you another one. Um, yeah, you gotta get down, sir. Stampy has been enjoying his old chair, which is, or my old chair, which is his new chair. Why don't you go sit in your chair? I'll move you here hopefully tomorrow. A nice Great Dane. Yeah, a lap Great Dane. It's great. Lovely. Um, where were we? Yeah, no, Zero. The idea of the meta ones, I'm not sure how finely developed they are. They do have cameras in them, and they bring something to the table. Obviously, it's a problem for people with glasses already. Like how do you accommodate for that? And um, yeah, it's still not, I think, where we want them to be. Again, I think the Vision Pro is as close as we've gotten, but again, it's expensive. But we'll see how that develops. It's their first product in the thing. Google Glass, yeah. People didn't want to wear glasses, and we we have a weird relationship with um, things being cool, right? And apparently, Google Glass wasn't cool. And the same thing happened with the Vision Pro, right? Like people were using the Vision Pro outside of their house, and next thing um, people were getting shit for it, right? And when people are getting shit for it, it's like, I don't know. I'm just on the shut the fuck up crew. It's like, I don't care if someone is wearing Vision Pro glasses on the subway. If they're happy, then I'm happy. The glasses with cameras, yeah, I can understand why that's a problem. Um, but like people are walking around with cameras in their pockets. There are cameras everywhere. Um, Not to the extent of like the UK or other China maybe. Um, but you know, what are you gonna do? The yeah, the full face helmets. COVID COVID could have given us that one, right, Reed? We could have all been walking around with our futuristic space helmets with internal cooling and not having to look at people. You can generally tell when someone is recording you with their phone. It depends on how they hold it, right? I mean, if I hold it like, if I hold it like this, then yeah, I'm recording you, right? But if I'm holding it like this, you know, or if I'm holding it like this, right? I can be recording you without you knowing. You can tell because the internet is filled with videos of people recording people without them knowing. And then if it's audio, then yeah, it could be however you want it. Yeah, and that's the thing is that people no, I can hold it in a way that looks like I'm using it, but that it's angled. I'm just showing you that the camera is up here, you know, like that. There's not an excuse, for cameras, and it's just that you can be recorded and not realize you're being recorded. Um, but yeah, having the light come on, and that's something that the AI pin did incorporate into its design. It had a green light that popped on when it was active so that people knew. Um, People are going to feel different ways about it. But anyways, yeah, back to the this whole thing about the apocalyptic end any minute now of artificial intelligence. It's been going on for quite some time. Um, it's a clickbaity headline, right? And that's where we're at. You want people to read your article, then you have to have your good headline. The AI gold rush is hitting a bottleneck that could spell disaster for Google and Meta. Artificial intelligence systems like ChatGPT could soon run out of what's check check. Hmm. I heard a noise. I heard a Bidu noise. I don't know what it was. Uh, where was I? Got him. The ChatGPT could soon run out of what keeps them making them smarter. The tens of trillions of words people have written and shared online. Now, this is not unreasonable. You heard the Bidu too. Okay, so it was something. It was a Windows something, but it didn't give me a pop up or anything. A new study released Thursday by research group Epic AI projects that tech companies will exhaust the supply of publicly available training data for AI language models by roughly the turn of the decade, somewhere between 2026 and 2032. Let's take a look see. Will we run out of data? We investigate the potential constraints. Our findings indicate that if current LLM development trends continue, models will be trained on data sets roughly equal in size to the available stock of public human text data between 2026 and 2032, slightly earlier if models are overtrained. We explore how progress in language modeling can continue when human generated text datasets cannot be scaled any further. We argue that synthetic data generation, transfer learning from data rich domains, and data efficiency improvements might support further progress. Okay, so do you see right here how this is different from this headline um, already off jump? 1 second, Cosmic. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. There you go, Cosmic. Shout out Old Lobster. This is a great meme. Unfortunately, you put it in general, not in memes. We have an entire meme folder. Um, yeah. Anywho, comparing it to a literal gold rush that depletes finite natural resources, Tamay Beziroglu, an author of the study, said that the AI field might face challenges in maintaining its current pace of progress once it drains the reserves of human-generated writing. Now, off jump, one, this has been responded to, for instance, by using synthetic data, and two, that there are arguments that it has more to do with the quality of the data and less to do with the volume. The volume is important, but that you could, like for instance, training via textbook type data versus training, like how much can you really extract out of Reddit or 4chan or Facebook? Um, you can extract some behaviors of how people talk, but how quality is that data, right? If I was training an AI, I feel like I would want better data, from just better sources than just randos on the internet. And then you get in the whole Google thing. In the short term, tech companies like ChatGPT's OpenAI, in the short term, someday we can get past explaining everything in every single article, but I guess we can't because like 47% of people don't know what ChatGPT is, which is a number that exists. In the short term, tech companies like OpenAI and Google are racing to secure and sometimes pay for high quality data sources to train their AI large language models, for instance, by signing deals to tap into the steady flow of sentences coming out of Reddit forums and news media outlets. Reddit forums are not high quality data. I'm sorry. Like, it's not just that they pad the word count. They are talking to people who might not know, like, who is OpenAI, right? Like, if you don't know, then your only link to OpenAI could be ChatGPT. I feel like if you know what ChatGPT is, you would know what OpenAI is, but it's one of the things is because y'all come here and I'm certain in your own lives you're paying attention to this type of information. You're more tuned in, and we can sometimes become like, how does not everyone know this? Kind of behavior, and we have to pull back on that. I myself have to pull back on that to um, to understand that a lot of people are living their lives and don't give a shit about AI and ChatGPT and so on and so forth. In the longer term, there won't be enough new blogs, news articles, and social media commentary to one way to put it, the to sustain the current trajectory of AI development, putting pressure on companies to tap into sensitive data now considered private. Um, no, no underscores in my name on um Discord. All one word. Globust Helder. Um. or relying on less reliable synthetic data spit out by the chatbots themselves. There is a serious bottleneck here. If you use that link I just put up there underneath you saying that you couldn't get in, um, that one should work. It's brand new. Blow bust held her. If you start hitting those, there's a serious bottleneck here. If you start hitting those constraints about how much data you have, you can't really scale up your models efficiently anymore. And scaling up the models has been probably the most important way of expanding their capabilities and improving the quality of their output. There is, yeah, there is that. But there's also compute, and then there are methods of working within the parameters as they currently exist. Researchers first made their projections 2 years ago, shortly after ChatGPT's debut, in a working paper that forecast a more imminent 2026 cutoff of high quality text data. Much has changed since then, including new techniques that enable AI researchers to make better use of the data they already have and sometimes overtrain on these same sources multiple times. Morning Seed. But there are limits, and after further research, Epic now foresees running out of public text data somewhere in the next 2 to 8 years. So, also, now I'm not saying that Epic is wrong. I'm saying that it was 2026, and now it's 2026 to 2032, and then so maybe it's both. The upside of science is that you're going to make adjustments, and the downside of putting out papers is that you need to stay relevant, which can have an unconscious influence on your methodology. The team's latest study is peer reviewed and due to be presented at 18 months tops. This summer's International Conference on Machine Learning in Vienna, Austria. EPIC is a nonprofit institute hosted by Rethink Priorities and funded by proponents of effective altruism. There we go. We just have to keep reading. A philanthropic, lots of crime bunnies here, a philanthropic movement that has poured money into mitigating AI worst case risks. What is effective altruism? I hear you ask. Um, we're not going to rely on their definition. Is a 21st century philosophical and social movement that advocates using evidence and reason to figure out how to benefit others as much as possible and take action on that basis. People who pursue the goals of effective altruism, sometimes called effective altruists, often donate to charities or choose careers with the aim of maximizing positive impact. Effective altruist. This is reading off Wikipedia. This is not an advocation of their anything. Effective altruists emphasize impartiality and the global equal consideration of interest when choosing beneficiaries. Popular cause priorities within effective altruism include global health and development, social and economic inequality, animal welfare, and risks to the survival of humanity over the long-term future. Sounds great, right? What could possibly be the problem here? You got you got me a controversies. Sam Bankman Fried, right? And a seminal lunch with philosopher William McCaskill in 2012. He was an undergraduate in which McCaskill encouraged him to go earn money and donate it rather than volunteering his time for causes. Now, if you have the capacity to do stuff like this, it could um it could have value, right? Like one of the things that most organizations need is more money, right? In the current meta, right? We're not talking about some other meta. We're talking about the current meta that we exist under. Um, Bankman Fried went on to have a career in investing and around 2019 became more publicly associated with the EA movement, announcing that his goal was to donate as much as he can. Um, but then we know what happened with him. Bankman Fried's relationship with effective altruism has been called into question as a public relations strategy, while the movement's embrace of him proved damaging to its reputation. Some journalists asked whether the effective altruist movement was complicit in FTX's collapse because it was convenient for leaders to overlook specific warnings about Bankman Fried's behavior or questionable ethics at the training firm Alameda. However, several leaders of the effective altruism movement, including William McCaskill and Robert Wiblin, condemned FTX's actions. McCaskill reemphasized that bringing about good consequences does not justify violating rights and sacrificing integrity. Misogyny. Critiques arose not only in relation to Bankman Fried's role and his close association with McCaskill, but also concerning issues of exclusion and sexual harassment. A 2023 Bloomberg article featured some members of the effective altruism community who alleged that the philosophy masked a culture of predatory behavior. In a 2023 Time magazine article, 7 women reported misconduct and controversy in the effective altruism movement. They accused men within the movement, typically in the Bay Area, of using their power to groom younger women for polyamorous sexual relationships. The accusers argued that the majority male demographic and the polyamorous subculture combined to create an environment where sexual misconduct was tolerated, excused, or rationalized away. In response to the accusation, the Center for Effective Altruism told Time that some of the alleged perpetrators had already been banned from the organization and said it would investigate new claims. The organization also argued that it is challenging to discern to what extent sexual misconduct issues were specific to the EA community or reflected a broader societal misogyny. And then finally, while originally the movement's leaders were associated with frugal lifestyles, the arrival of big donors, including Bankman Fried, led to more spending and opulence, which seemed incongruous with the movement's espoused values. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not wrong, Reed. And that's what it comes down to is like, um, it's here. Joseph Gordon Levitt, right, talks about this. Is JGL a weirdo? Doesn't seem to be, right? Sam Altman calls EA an incredibly flawed movement that shows very weird emergent behavior. Um, EA concerns about AI risk were present among the OpenAI board members who fired Altman in November. Um, Now, it's important to separate those two concepts away, and I don't know, like, without looking into these, effective altruism and AI risk are two separate things that can have crossover, right? Yeah, I put effective altruism in the same category as I put long termism. Is that it sounds good on paper, but it's how you need to be careful about your execution and you need to be careful about your messaging. And both those groups are not, right? Um, okay. So yeah, we may or may not run out of data. And I think in between now and the time we run out of data, we will we will figure something out. Chatbot teamwork makes the AI dream work. It is my Discord. Um, I appreciate the enthusiasm. Yes, you have messaged me, Cosmic. You have to remember that I'm doing my job here, and you need to respect that, right? You need to give me the space in order for me to do my thing. This is why we have created a spot in my Discord for article suggestions to be placed in. So at your convenience, you could put articles in there that may or may not be used during the stream. And then um, I will look at them at the point in time that I can. I cannot respond to everything. I have an entire life of things that I have to accomplish, including this stream, right? Just make sure that you respect me and respect my space as much as I will respect you and your space, okay? Chatbot teamwork makes AI dream work. Also shows in real time the impact of extreme wealth in a short span of time. Yes, right. And this is one of those things, right? Red Hobbit. I think that's a very good point to bring up. We we all look at ourselves as like the hero of our own adventure, and a lot of people do talk about what they would do if all of a sudden $1 billion got dropped in their lap. And one would hope that most of those people would do those things, right? Like those behaviors that they had pre $1 billion would continue post $1 billion. Now, $1 billion is a lot of money, and it's going to change your perspective simply from that, that kind of thing. Two, you see a lot of it in relation to people who become suddenly successful related to sports figures or what have you, um, or entertainers of varying stripes, in which um, I talked about this the other day, is they end up surrounded by sycophants and yes men rather than people who are going to be able to tell them the truth, and people are going to be able to help them navigate this new level of access that they have. Um, and again, just fall back on Michael's axiom: we need to be kind with people and ruthless with systems, right? Is always remember that, you know. Or as it's sometimes, there before the grace of God go I, right? We don't know what would happen to us if we all of a sudden had $1 billion, right? We could end up going down paths that our past selves would not want us to go down. And you can end up going that way incrementally, you know. Um, let's say you get $1 billion. Think of all the good you could do with $1 billion. Okay, but then, well, what if I take this $1 billion and I turn it into $2 billion? Now I can do twice as much good. Okay, now if I turn this 2 billion into 4 billion, now I can do 4 times as much good, right? But you have to get around to doing the good at some point in time. So it's a balancing act. You know what I mean? It's just something you got to be you got to pay attention to. We are subject to our environment, and all the behaviors that a human exhibits. A big factor of that is your environment. Again, I don't like either ors. What up, Ice Picker? The system, the current meta is phenomenal at keeping itself alive. That's the thing. Is like that's why I find limited utility in dead German and Russian authors. Is like, okay, at the time, correct. Are there kernels of truth that maintain? Correct. But some of your theory, because you put it out into the world and then people reacted to it, now this environment has changed, and now we need a new theory, right? That draws on the old but is contemporary for the current state of being, and so on and so forth. It needs to be a living beast. And if you talk about the science of whatever your political philosophy is, then you need to understand that science changes over time, and going back 150 years and pounding on a particular book, well, that's religion, homie. That's not science. Also don't like how having sudden wealth changes people around you as well. And again, it's that same kind of thing, right? You're living and you're struggling and you're just trying to get by, and you're terrified that something on your car is going to break, and then you're not going to be able to get your job, and then your life could just spiral out of control, and then your homie gets $1 billion, and it's like, dude, you could You could take care of the people around you. You could take care of me. Remember all the times I've been there for you? Now you can take care of me. So it's not, it's one of those things where it's not unreasonable. It's our, there's a way, again, I read Debt, David Graeber's Debt. So that is part of the, you know, framework under which I'm functioning. If you read it, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, David Graeber could be wrong. He tends not to be wrong, as far as I can tell. Um, but it's that kind of thing. It's like this is not how we were built to function under this transactional kind of thing. You know, if one of the members of our tribe, group, family, what have you, was hungry, then we would help them find food, right? Like we would all find food together. And if for some reason you opened up a thing and you found a whole bunch of food and they had less food or none food, then you would give them some of your food. And in the future, they would give you some of their food and so on and so forth. It's this reciprocal altruism kind of concept. And like the current meta does everything it can to separate us from that and make our lives transactional. This is why I do everything I can in my daily life to eliminate transactional relationships. If I do something for you, right? There are people on this platform that like, here is a thing. I made you this thing. I made Taylor's. I used Udio, and I made a song for Taylor's, right? That I thought vibed with him, and it was like, here. And he was like, can I make a video out of this? Can I do something? It's all you, dude. Like, I do, when I do something, is because I want to do it, right? And I expect the same people to, or I expect people to do the same in return, right? That anything that you do because you wish to do it. Like, I appreciate the fact that Red Hobbit puts articles into the article suggestion folder. There's nothing that I don't want Red Hobbit to ever feel obligated to do that. It is there because what I would hope is that Red Hobbit finds food, brings food back to the community, and then we all eat together. Kind of thinking. This is my framework for how I try to function. Um, by the same token, this leads me to not feel like that transactional obligation. You know what I mean? If you do something, I assume you're doing it because you wish to do it. And there's no obligation that we're going to trade stuff back and forth in the future, right? You do what you want to do because I am, no gods, no masters, and so on and so forth. So it's like you do what you want to do because you want to do it, and I do what I want to do because I want to do it, and we do it under the framework that we are better together rather than the framework is that if we each go and extract our own wealth out of the whatevers that, that somehow works out. Same philosophy, but different focus, if that makes sense. Chat's going off. Especially in IT technology, you're put on a pedestal as a genius with greater expectations placed on you, like what's your next move and something something shareholders. Yeah. Said to all my friends, if I ever won a lot of money and could afford, I would pay off a big chunk of people's debts as a way to help them reset their lives. But that would be it. I would then focus on groups of people that need help. Yeah, like one of my things is um I would like who holds your mortgage on your house, you know what I mean? Or who holds your car note? And we'll get that shit paid off, right? And get you out from under that kind of scenario. Um Now, in the current meta, there could be reasons to continue making payments on a thing, but like we could figure that shit out. We could set up a little fund that automatically pays your shit each month if that's a better outcome for your particular circumstances. But that just that automation of that whole process, I think, is a huge thing. Like how for those of you, I'm going to assume that most of you are in the working class. Um, if there was just a big pile of money, right? Not even a pile of money. If you just automated the things, right? That you didn't worry about your gas bill, your electric bill, your phone bill, your car note, your rent or mortgage or what have you, if it was just paid each month, because you don't actually give a shit, right? When it comes down to it, you don't give a shit about the rent. You don't want to take money from one spot and then give it to another person. You can leave me out of it, right? Like, I don't want to be the middleman for your weird transaction. Just go ahead and resolve that shit between yourselves. I'll be in the house, which is what I care about, and you can play with the money, which appears to be what you care about. So, like, that kind of functionality that all bills on auto pay and like when I go to the store, I put the food in the bag and I swipe the card and then I walk out of the store, right? I don't care about the number, right? Now, I'm not going to fly off the handle and buy lobster tails and mignon every night. Um, but even if I did, like, I don't really functionally give a shit about that. I'm just saying that, like, I think that most people would be happy if their bills were on auto pay. That's fair, right? Tell me I'm wrong. Um, yeah. So anyway, chatbot teamwork makes an AI dream work. Experiments show that asking AI chatbots to work together on a problem can compensate for some of their shortcomings. Wire enlisted two bots to help plan this article. Turning to a friend or coworker can make tricky problems easier to tackle. Now it looks like having AI chatbots team up with each other can make them more effective. I've been playing this week with AutoGen, an open source software framework for AI agent collaboration developed by researchers at Microsoft and academics at Penn State, UW, and Jidian University in China. And the software collaborating with China, whatever. Jesus Christ. The software taps OpenAI's large language model GPT-4 to let you create multiple AI agents with different personas, roles, and objectives that can be prompted to solve specific problems. To put the idea of AI collaboration to the test, I had two AI agents work together on a plan for how to write about AI collaboration. By modifying AutoGen's code, I created a reporter and editor that discussed writing about AI agent collaboration. After talking about the importance of showcasing how industries such as healthcare, transportation, retail, and more are using multi agent AI, the pair agreed that the proposed piece should dive into the ethical dilemmas posed by the technology. It's too early to write much about any of those suggested topics. The concept of multi agent AI collaboration is mostly the research phase, but the experiment demonstrated a strategy that can amplify the power of AI chatbots. The large language models often stumble over math problems because they work by providing statistically plausible text rather than rigorous logical reasoning. In a paper presented at an academic workshop in May, the researchers behind AutoGen show that having AI agents collaborate can mitigate that weakness. Oh, I love it. It's because it's the only language that they understand, Larry, right? Like it has to work in the system, you know? If it's outside of the system, they can't understand it. It's bizarre. Um they found that 2 to 4 agents working together could solve 5th grade math problems um, more reliably than one agent on its own. In their test, teams were able to reason out chess problems by talking them through, and they were able to analyze and refine computer code by talking to one another. Others have shown similar benefits when several different AI models, even those offered by corporate rivals, team up. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. What up, Maddie? Thank you for continuing your sub. Like, and shout out Ice Picker, like, for being a real one. They have, you have planted seeds that have grown into, like, people who, like, maintain their, ongoing, subscriptions. And it's very helpful. Um, especially with how janky things are getting, and trying to maintain the inflow of money, money. Um. So yeah, thank you, Ice Picker. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you. Teams of LLMs can be prompted to behave in surprisingly human-like ways. They found that assigning AI agents distinct personality traits such as easygoing or overconfident can fine tune their collaborative performance either positively or negatively. In a recent article in The Economist, rounds up several multi agent projects, including one commissioned by the Pentagon's DARPA. In that experiment, a team of AI agents was tasked with searching for bombs hidden within a labyrinth of virtual rooms. While the multi AI team was better at finding the imaginary bombs than a lone agent, researchers also found that the group spontaneously developed an internal hierarchy. One agent ended up bossing the others around while they went about their mission. I'd like to see that, right? And is that it like, because again, something that people fall into is a misperception on the concept of like anarchism, right? You know that there's no hierarchy. There's purpose built hierarchy. There's no arbitrary hierarchy. In the example that I use, let's say chat, we're going on a boat and we're going fishing, right? So Globus and chat, we all get on the boat. The person who is most capable at driving the boat is the person that we would tend to agree should be driving the boat. And then people with various skill levels on assisting with driving the boat would take on, you know, different categories of tasks within the boat driving. Then when we get to the spot where we're doing the fishing, the person who's best at fishing is going to take the lead there, and then varying degrees, and we will all help each other to learn more about fishing and like that, and whose jobs are to do what. And then at the end of the day, when we get back to shore, neither of those people are in charge of anything anymore. So yes, if Chat and Globus were all looking for bombs, whoever had the most skill in bomb finding should be the one bossing everyone else around, right? So I would like to know more about what bossing around means in this context. Also, chatbots tend to not have emotional, that kind of thing. What up, Dame Karen? What up, Johnny Prophet? Real masterpiece. Um, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, Maddie. Is there are reasons to do hierarchy to an extent? Right. The best finder might not be the best at leading, you know what I mean? But there is probably a best organizer. The best organizer should be doing the organizing for the project. The best finder should be doing what they do well. There's a little thing called from each according to their abilities to each according to their needs. Does that make more sense? Yeah. Okay. It's that kind of thing. Like temporary, purpose built hierarchies that are easily dismantled after they are no longer applicable, even if only temporarily applicable. This is, you know, was that Marx? It was Marx. I think it's the most important thing that Marx ever said. And no unnecessary, unjust hierarchy. What up, Adam? Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like, and if you look at the way a let's say a well functioning human unit, right? Whether it's a family or a group of friends, they're well functioning, they're well adjusted, that kind of thing. You know, they they do that within the group, right? Do you and I mean maybe it's different for your group of friends and what have you, but there's like um the idea of going out to eat, right? Like we're gonna go out to eat, and your one friend doesn't have money. Do you lock that friend out, or does everybody pitch in so that that friend can come out to eat? Right. This is the natural communism. Many crime bunnies. The natural communism of these family units. What up, Nemesis? Um, and it's the same thing. You know, there's the same kind of thing that exists within the rich, right? Where they have within their class, um they all go and you know they just cover each other and with the expectation that whatever the other people can do later on they will do. That is more of a natural state of man than you know this kind of thing. Again, Dave Graeber, debt. It makes sense to me. No, now you're caught up. Now you are free. You pick a spot that's less effective. Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways that could instantiate itself, Red Hobbit. But like, do you want to hang out with your friend, or do you want to organize your personal society and interactions? Yeah, Johnny, this is Stampy. Your personal interactions around the idea of an equal exchange. Do you want to build a snowman? Oh. How is it a slow news day and it's still like an hour and a half of content? Okay, shifting gears over to we live in a society. Um, both. Read. Copyright. Ansel Adams' estate condemns Adobe for selling AI generated images mimicking the photographer's style. Not the photographer's content, style. A dead man owns a style. Black and white landscape dupes, which have since been taken down, violated Adobe's generative AI policies. Now, that's an entirely other thing. If you have a policy, then then that's your terms of service, your EULA. Adobe, you are officially on our last nerve with this behavior. Yeah, exactly, Red Hobbit. Photographer Ansel Adams' estate is speaking out against Adobe for selling AI generated images that mimic the late photographer's awe inspiring black and white landscapes. So, all. all black and white landscapes belong to the dead man, um, and they are his forever, and that's it. Yeah, but the your own style, Maddie, is a combination of other people's styles by definition. Ansel Adams' style is somebody else's styles incorporated into one. It has to do with, the camera choice and photographing landscapes, doing it in high contrast black and white. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, same page. Um, Yeah, you're officially on our last nerve with this behavior, wrote the estate, which tags Adobe's official thread account on the post. A thread account? They're on threads. Adams, a San Francisco born photographer and environmentalist who died in 1984, George Orwell's 1984, has long been celebrated for his crisp black and white photographs of the American West. In the AI generated copycat, snowy mountains tower over tranquil lake in a dramatic black and white that mimics Adams's work. The stock image, however, is clearly digitally rendered. It looks flat and empty compared to the textured, detailed photographs it was created to recall. AI is soulless. In spite of being a plagiaristic copy of all things human, it somehow also is a soulless vomit of nothing. It's just weird to me. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. It can't be a plagiarism machine if it doesn't have your soul in it, dude. So, yeah. The estate, however, says that it reached out privately to Adobe multiple times beginning in August 2023 with concerns about AI generated images. Assuming you want to be taken seriously, your purported commitment to ethical, responsible AI while demonstrating respect for the creative community, we invite you to become proactive about complaints like ours and to stop putting the onus on individual artists' estates to continuously police our IP on your platform on your terms. Okay? I don't know if this is going to work because I don't threads. I mean, if okay, so this was created by Free FRE. Um and in the title here they put Nature Symphony Ansel Adams style landscape photography. I wonder if they had replaced Ansel Adams style with black and white landscape photography, if there wouldn't have been a problem. Because this is different, right? And I want to point out that this is different. And like, though copyright and IP, and y'all know at this point my opinions on all that stuff are. But when you reference the person themselves, that gets into that spot, right? Like if OpenAI had called their voice bot that sounded to varying degrees depending on who you are, that sounded like Scarlett Johansson. If they had called it ScarJo, well, that's a bridge too far, right? But again, this is black and white landscape photography, right? I don't even have an issue with like the person who created these images using Ansel Adams in their prompt because it's a shorthand. Ansel Adams style does incorporate um you know this kind of look, right? But doing it in the prompt is different. That's in process, right? In the same way that my head will do Ansel Adams style as I am constructing a picture with my camera, my phone, and I do it in black and white, and I am trying to mimic his style. That process, which happens with AI externally, happens with human beings internally, right? And those things are the same process. It's just one is happening externally and one is happening internally, right? So there is no issue to me of a person typing into the thing Ansel Adams style. It's just when you go and you market it in this way, now you are trying to capitalize off their IP, and that kind of say you this is there is a difference here, you know what I mean? In my opinion. Your opinion may vary. Um IP and copyright, and depending on where you stand in there, tends to make people feel ways about stuff. Right. You can't just write a book and title it Stephen King style horror, you know? But you can read a bunch of Stephen King and write a book, and on the back cover of that goddamn book, it'll be a thing where someone who reviewed your book will say, all the horror of Stephen King with the humorous punch of Douglas Adams. You know what I mean? No, IP is intellectual property, right? The backs of the books. You can go right now to the store, to the bookstore, and find the book. Anyone who likes Stephen King will love this book, right? And that is acceptable somehow for some reason. But if I wrote on the front Stephen King style horror, this is like, this is no. Why? Oh, why is the fifth most popular article on Smithsonian Magazine's website, How Do We Know When to Pee? And you know when to pee, there's a little bundle of nerves inside your bladder. And once the level gets up to that bundle of nerves, it triggers the pee sensation. That's why when you're sleeping and you're laying in bed, you could probably lay there for additional hours unless it fills up like that because the liquid sloshes to the back and the pee nerves are in front. You'll learn something today. I pee, therefore I am. I don't think, therefore I don't am. Okay, we are going to finish up with some renewable energy news. Bunch of articles on renewable energy. If you sleep on your front, you're more likely to have to pee earlier. U.S. solar installations hit quarterly record, making up 75% of new power added. Solar accounted for 75% of electricity generation capacity added to the U.S. power grid early this year as installations of panels rose to a quarterly record. According to a report published by Wood Mackenzie and the Solar Energy Industries Association on Thursday. It sounds like a really weird, esoteric indie band name. Wood Mackenzie and the Solar Energy Industries Association. Now, if I take this and I copy it and I use Udio and create a new account with Udio, like I've seen the dot communists up here. Here's Hemingway, right? If I were to create a digital AI recording experience and called it Wood Mackenzie and the Solar Energy Industries Association, is that fair use? It feels transformative. I just did it right in front of you. I did transformative creation right here in front of you. You all watched me. I have 21 witnesses. The country's solar industry saw 11.8 gigawatts new capacity in the first 3 months of 2024 as electric utilities continued their rapid additions of the renewable power sources. U.S. Solar has benefited from the increased availability of panels. Panels from where? Where did those increased availability of panels come from? And from federal and state policies aimed at increasing the amount of clean energy on the electric grid to meet climate-driven emission goals. Not only is the global solar supply chain expanded, where did it expand from? But module imports to the U.S. have also risen significantly over the last year. Supply chain bottlenecks eased and the cost of solar panels fell after Biden placed a 2-year moratorium on imported panels believed to be produced with forced labor in China. So there was a moratorium and then they kicked it back up again? Or did the moratorium come after? Supply chain bottlenecks eased and the cost of solar panels fell. But the production was based in China. There's all these Chinese panels sitting in like, and this is the thing, is who do I trust, right? Like, I get my information from news sources and news sources get theirs from wherever the hell they get it from. My understanding is over in Europe, solar panels are so cheap because there's an oversupply at the docks and nobody can install them. So there are people over there in Europe who are building fences out of them that even though they're not the most ideal place to put a solar panel, they do get some electricity from them and also cheap fencing. Because humans will do all sorts of stuff given the opportunity. Oh, that's kind of confusing article. Scientists use sun to cook hydrogen from agri waste with 600% less energy. I don't know. I love the idea of the solar panel parking lots. Right? If we're gonna have parking lots, then Let's mandate that they be covered in solar panels. One, it keeps the cars cooler, and two, it generates electricity. Sounds like a win win. The approach utilizes biochar, a carbon rich substance, to reduce the electricity required for water to hydrogen conversion. Increasing greenhouse gas emissions and rising climate change indicators have led to a growing demand to transition from fossil fuel based to renewable energy sources. Hydrogen is one of the most promising options for a carbon free energy carrier. It is a sustainable energy source. It emits no carbon dioxide when energy is released. To further initiatives in the domain, researchers at the University of Illinois Chicago have developed a procedure to make hydrogen gas from water using only solar power and agricultural waste, such as manure or husks. According to the team, by reducing the energy required to extract hydrogen from water by 600%, the technique opens up new possibilities for creating environmentally friendly, sustainable chemicals. Do do do. Team claims that by utilizing sustainable energy sources like wind and solar power and recovering waste products, the procedure can achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions. We are the first group to show that you can produce hydrogen utilizing biomass at a fraction of a volt. This is transformative technology. Yeah, this is this is a big deal. Dead solar panels. Dead solar panels get a greener second life with saltwater solution. The method is easy to scale and automate and can be deployed to recycle large number of solar panels at the end of their life cycle. I love the words easy to scale. I love automate. Researchers from Wuhan University, dun dun dun, and Northeastern University in China had developed a new approach for safe and environment friendly recycling of solar panels. As an additional bonus, the approach is also more energy efficient and addresses concerns about an impending solar waste crisis in the future. Countries look to move. Yeah. How does it work? Current solar panel setup consists of an aluminum frame and backing, a glass cover with a non reflective coating, and solder containing the wires. Both the aluminum frame and glass cover can be easily removed and repurposed. To separate the high quality silicon in the solar cell from its silver wiring, recyclers use nitric acid and other chemicals to dissolve these high value components. These are tricky components in the recycling process. And researchers in China replaced the acid with a molten mixture of sodium and potassium hydroxide, which is highly reactive with any component it comes in contact with. After experimenting with various treatment methods, the researchers settled on a 2 second dip, followed by 1 to 2 minutes at temperatures of 392 degrees Fahrenheit. Short exposure allowed layers of material to separate while remaining largely intact. So it's just breaking the layers so it peels off. The heat decompresses the polyvinyl layer, and the highly reactive hydrogen fluoride gas reacts with the sodium hydroxide to form sodium fluoride. With silicon etching away, the silver wiring also comes loose and floats in the water. A filtration process can concentrate 99% of the silver, even as the silver nitride layer can be recovered as a whole. The aluminum backing can also be removed in a water based alkaline solution, leaving pure silicon wafer behind. Elements such as tin, copper, and lead used in solder oxidize in the air and can be recovered in a sodium hydroxide solution. Lead and tin can be separated using electroplating. Adding water to the mixture stops the etching reaction. The mixture can be concentrated and reused for another recycling round when required. The waste products from the entire process are sodium silicate and sodium aluminate, which are non toxic and have wide industrial uses. This is fucking amazing, right? Wuhan got you all in check. See what you did there. Um, yeah, no, this is amazing. Like it sounds like a big if true, right? Like it just everything they can take the panels apart and reuse all the stuff. Heat pumps. New water-based heat pump delivers 400% more heat than the energy it uses. Seaworm's heat pump can harness energy from any water body, offering a more sustainable solution for powering homes and businesses. A new type of equipment is being trialed in Edinburgh University to sustainably power homes and offices in Edinburgh, Scotland. This innovation has been developed by Seaworm, University of Edinburgh's spin-off company that harnesses the power of water sources from seas, rivers, ponds, water. So how does it work? System requires a heat exchanger such as Seaworm's Hot Twist technology. Oh, my inner 12-year-old, which is designed to extract heat from the water. The heat exchanger collects thermal energy from the water and transfers it to the heat pump, where it is compressed to a higher temperature suitable for heating purposes. System is optimized for stable water temperatures, ensuring consistent performance, and can even operate efficiently in extreme conditions by utilizing the latent heat of ice fusion. As per the Guardian, Seaworm's heat pump is currently being tested. Uh, Looks like at a couple different places. Um, Represents the most recent method of harnessing the natural warmth present in the environment to heat buildings, employing technologies similar to those used in air and ground source heat pumps. So cool. Okay, here we go. He added the hot twist system is said to deliver 350% to 400% more heat than the electricity it needs to operate, which is comparable to the most efficient air source heat pumps. Big if true. We're on some big if true today. And finally, finally, capitalists are alarmed as renewables keep making electricity temporarily free. Investors are wary of consumers getting a free ride. This sounds like a you problem. The supply of renewable energy is soaring across Europe to the point where the cost of electricity is dropping to zero and even, in some rare instances, going negative. On one hand, that's a boon for plenty of consumers, not to mention the environment. But businesses are now starting to worry that these upside down economics could cause the demand for bigger and better renewable projects to taper off. Or you figure out a different solution, a different way of running things. Negative pricing is going to slow down the deployment of renewable capacity for most players. I will both hate the player and the game. Thank you very much. That affects your ability to invest at reasonable levels. Alex Feynman? Axel Feynman. In a bizarre inversion, it's a bizarre inversion of benefits and incentives. Negative power prices occur when high power generation coincides with low demand, something that tends to happen most often on public holidays. As a result, renewable energy providers offer up electricity for negative prices. In short, they're essentially paying buyers to take on excess power. In reality, though, taxes and transport costs usually mean that consumers will still have to pay. Negative prices first occurred in Germany in 2008 and initially remained rare, but according to EU market monitor Acer, those instances rose 12-fold, an explosion in 2023 compared to the previous year. Okay, if you can't profit off it, that's fine. Give it back to the public. Don't have it be something that has to operate for a profit. If you can't make profits, then it shouldn't be a profit driven model. And there are profits, right? They're just extrinsic profits. They are not related to the monies. They are related to less us dying, which has value. Upside down welcomes us, yeah. And then there's the batteries, yeah. Um, Add it all up, and it highlights the growing need for energy storage that can redistribute power when demand is high and supply is low. But this is, if you think about it, if you take a step back and think about that as well, this is a kick in the can down the road solution. Because yes, let's expand capacity. So when demand is high, they'll be able to draw on that. But it doesn't change the fact that there's these negatives involved, and when it's high is when the electricity companies can extract some additional revenue. um like if you look at your electric bill, there's like different amounts for different times, which is silly to me unless you just accept supply and demand as a thing that exists, and we're all just going to do that rather than them having to justify why I should pay more to do the thing. Experts predict the trend of increased negative energy prices could continue for another decade or so. Or how about forever? Let's just do that. And let's not worry about the investments from people trying to extract additional wealth. Let's just turn it into a public service, and we all pay some taxes and we get cheap electricity, and then we convert away from gas powered furnaces and other devices to electricity ones, and we have cheap renewable electricity with cheap house stuff and no more carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Like it sounds simple if you don't give a shit about, having a gas stove, right? Don't get me wrong, I understand the difference between a gas stove and an electric stove and all the inherent, complications. You'll adapt. If you want to cook with fire, go outside. All right. So that is it for this morning. I'm going to figure out my camera situation because now I sit higher on the new chair. Boop, boop. That'll work. All right, stick around. Don't run off. We're going to raid. I'm pretty sure I saw Kel Thickness go live. That's probably what we're going to do. Probably what we're going to do. Probably what we're going to do. Yeah. I'm going to send you over to Kel Thickness if you're not familiar with them. They're a homie. And And that's all.
Would you be a good sport and indulge us and just tell us a little more? Oh, yeah.
I know something just happened. Oh, holy shit. Is that. Oh, it's Australian. I don't know what that means, but. I don't either, but I appreciate it. Like, thank you, Ice Picker. You're like, you're an absolute homie, and you're super supportive. Um, and I appreciate it. It was just a big number. Um, so yeah, common, common Ice Picker W. Um, all right, I will be back 5 p.m. Eastern today. We'll watch some videos and then we'll do a movie night in the Discord. And if you want to watch a movie in the Discord, that'll be around probably 8:30 ish. I usually fall somewhere between 8:30 and 9. I have no idea, Reed. I'm gonna have to figure that out between now and then. So yeah. If you're watching on YouTube and you made it this far, like, subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified. Come visit us on Twitch, twitch.tv, Globus _ the _ elder. And I will see you later. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Shuggy loves you, and so do I. Be great. Go have fun with Kel Thickness.